30 seconds to show. I'd very much like to ask you guys to keep the conversations a little bit quieter during the real show.
Please. Tonight on SportsDesk, dealing with the Devils, our inside pitch duo explains how Miami can take down Duke in Durham this weekend.
Plus, taking the reins, Michael Muella has a story about the new leader of the Canes soccer program.
And later on, students with the skills hear about the kind of hidden talents that students got to show off to their peers.
All that and more
SportsDesk starts right now.
I'm Ed Reed, and you're watching Sports Desk.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, former guy. You're watching Sports Desk.
What's up? I'm DJ Williams, and y'all watching Sports Desk.
Hello and welcome to the 8th episode of the SportsDesk semester. I'm Michael Muella.
And I'm Olivia Howell. Thank you for joining us tonight. Mike, we have so much to discuss and so little time, so let's get right to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're actually going to start off tonight with some Major League Baseball. Still looking for their first win of the 2024 season, the Miami Marlins hit the road to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's head to Busch Stadium to see the highlights. Here we go, Marlins up 3-1. Jake Berger already hit one long ball in the day. Better make it a double stack in the Big Mac land. He goes back-to-back with Josh Bell. Marlins go up 4-1. Later on, it's 4-2, bottom of the 5th. Nolan Arenado with a man on second. That's a line drive double. It goes over the head of Nick Gordon in left field. That's going to score a run. Cardinals will go on to be down a run. It's 4-3 at this point. Later on, in the bottom of the 7th, Andrew Nardi, the first pitch to Nolan Gorman. That's a line drive down the right field line. Will it drop fair? Yes, it will. Arenado comes in to score. Here comes another run. Here comes the play at the plate. He would score. Cardinals go up 6-5. Later on, 7-5, same inning. It's Mason Wynn down the right field line, out of the reach of Jesus Sanchez. Cardinals would score all the way from first, 8-5. They hang on to win it. The Marlins would fall to 0-8 on the season. They'll look to regroup and win their first game of the season on Saturday.
Coming off their second straight loss, the Canes traveled to Durham to take on number 9 Duke. Mia Hausman and Andrew Klein are live in studio to break down how Miami can beat the Blue Devils on this week's edition of Inside Pitch. Guys?
Thanks, Olivia. Welcome back to Inside Pitch. I'm your host, Mia Hausman, alongside analyst Andrew Klein. The Canes are suffering through a losing streak right now, most recently losing to FAU on Tuesday, 3-0. After dropping the Clemson series, J.D. Arteaga made some changes to the starting lineup, most notably moving Villegas from first to ninth and Sear to that leadoff position. Andrew, why did the coach make these changes at this point of the season?
Well, Mia, I think he was looking for some sort of spark, and he hasn't gotten that from the team, so JD took matters into his own hands. Let's take a look at the lineup from opening night. Against NJIT, you see Villegas at the top, Costello at that 2 spot, Sear, Cuvée, Carrier, Gonzalez, Torres. These were supposed to be the 5 best hitters in this Miami order. Well, Carrier hasn't been that guy. The rest of them have. And the bottom of the order is where the struggles have come. It's been like that all season long for Miami. So JD decided to take matters into his own hands and make a change. This was Tuesday night at FAU. Miami did not win that game, but a lot of changes. Sear goes to that 1 spot, as you mentioned. Villegas hits 9th. Now, the reason I like that is because I don't think it's a demotion for Villegas. I think JD wants a double leadoff situation. He wants a guy that can get on for the big guys in Sear and the rest of those middle order guys.
Well, you were just talking about him. Jason Torres has been selected for the Golden Spikes Award midseason watch list. What has been his biggest impact on this Canes team?
Mia, absolutely everything. This guy has been magic to watch this year. The numbers tell the story themselves, and honestly, I don't even think the numbers give his season justice. This guy's been Miami's best hitter. He's hitting in the middle of the order, a catalyst offensively. That OPS through the roof. These are what you love to see if you're a Miami Hurricanes fan, supporter, player, or anything in between.
Well, tonight kicks off an ACC series against a deep Duke bench. How can the Canes snap this losing streak?
Well, look, Miami's going on the road where they've struggled to start the year, so they're going to have to be road warriors. Miami has just won 2 games on the road in 6 tries. 2-4 is their record. That's not good. Got to try and get back to your winning ways. Number 2, you got to have run support. 4 runs in the last 4 games for the Hurricanes. They have not scored since last Friday. That's not very good. They've gotten good pitching, and now finally, you got to have somebody make their moment. It's not just Torres, it's a whole squad.
Well, that's all the time we have tonight. Back to Olivia at the desk.
Thanks, guys. For many college graduates, it's hard to leave a place you've called home for 4 years. But for one former sports desker, his home is right here in Coral Gables, and he's never left. Jake Baum has a story.
The University of Miami provides many great opportunities for aspiring sports professionals, but for some, 4 years just isn't enough time at the U.
My name is Josh White. I'm an Associate Director of Athletic Communications here at Miami. I'm in my 3rd year here at the U. Came down to school in fall of 2016, and I've been here ever since.
As one of those associate directors, Josh's primary responsibility is to the baseball team. So what are his responsibilities?
I think one of the coolest things about the job is that there is no same day. I would say on a typical game day, I guess even before I leave my bed, I'm making like game day graphics and scheduling some things on social if I didn't get a chance to do it the night before. So you're printing out rosters and you're printing out season stats and you're printing out game notes. Batting practice happens and, capturing content during BP and grabbing our lineup and making our lineup graphic and things like that.
Jay White's done a lot. He's done a lot since he's been here. We're happy to have him here.
He still utilizes his experience as a UM student broadcaster for various platforms to this day, and his experience on both ends help him navigate his true job, to help the media and student athletes succeed in the best way they can.
So I think for me, I bring a really unique perspective, just given that I was on the other side of things. So I understand, what media members are mostly looking for, but then I also understand on our end, the difficulties of student athlete schedules, coaches, things like that.
You want the publicity. I know we play baseball here, but getting that attention and getting that love from social media and the fans is huge. And it makes everyone feel good. It gives you a confidence boost.
His work ethic does not go unnoticed. Brendan Riley, a former SportsDesk anchor and former intern of Josh's, told me just how far Josh goes to not just get the job done, but to do it the right way.
I'm not sure there's someone that works as hard as Josh White. You see that going on? You see how hard he works. It makes you want to work harder.
Trying to outwork everyone. I'm far from the most talented person on the planet. Growing up, I struggled. I was always raised on working hard and trying to outwork others. So whether it was covering a soccer match on a Thursday night when all my friends were going out, it was trying to do what I could to separate myself. I give a lot of credit to my parents for instilling that in me. To just try and work hard, do things that no one would do, and try and separate myself.
A lesson we can all use in every stage of our lives. A cane through and through. For UMTV, I'm Jake Baum.
Thanks, Jake. Coming up on Sports Desk, the host with the most is back for another edition of Behind the Post. Sports Desk will return after a short break.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire. How to control the flames. What to do with hot coals. How to secure your chains.
There's no sparks.
But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
While the Canes men's hoop squad continues to bring new talent to Coral Gables, the women's squad has found their new leader. Let's hear from Shay, Manny, and Taryn on this edition of Hurricane Hang Time. Guys?
Welcome back to Hurricane Hang Time. I'm your host, Shane McDonald, joined by May Nacarado and Taryn Jacobs. Let's get right into it. It was an up-and-down season for both the men's and the women's team for basketball, but there were some shining stars in the midst of it all. Today we're going to talk about MVPs, and we're going to start off with the men. Manny, who's yours?
Well, it's got to be Norchad Omier for the Hurricanes this season, averaging about 17 points and 10 rebounds, really making himself a presence on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, leading the team in defensive and offensive rebounds. Norchad was the definition of consistency and at one point leading the ACC in double-doubles this season. So for me, it's got to be Norchad.
Absolutely. As you put it right there, one of the only consistent pieces in a very inconsistent roster. Moving over to the women, Taryn, who's your MVP pick?
Well, my MVP for the season is going to have to be Cheyenne Day Wilson. She transferred here this season from Duke, and she was just amazing from the start on both ends of that basketball. She averaged about 12 points per game, had 85 rebounds on the season, and 23 steals. So she's just an amazing all-around player, really led the Canes, and coming into next season, she's going to be a huge threat for their opponents.
Absolutely crucial for a women's team that should have made the NCAA tournament. Moving on to new news, though. Massive shakeups for both teams, and there's a new acquisition for the men's basketball team. Manny, who is it?
Well, that's right, Shay. Coach Larinaga says we needed to bring size to the Hurricanes this season, and he did just that, bringing in from East Carolina 6'6" forward Brandon Johnson, averaging about 15 points and 7 rebounds per game. This brings in another added size component to the Hurricanes that didn't have at that forward position coming off the season where they had Jordan Miller. So he's going to be looking to fill that role and bring some needed size for next season.
Absolutely, you put it right there. Some size along with the acquisition of Lynn Kidd. Moving over to the women, the loss of Katie Meyer has been huge, but it seems like they've already found the replacement. Taryn, who is it?
Shay, well, that replacement is looking to be Trisha Kolop from Toledo women's basketball program. She was the winningest coach in their program history, and her past 16 seasons had 353 wins here. And once this deal is finally finalized, she will look to have a big impact and lead the program next season.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, both teams, some new life joining the team. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. It's WrestleMania weekend, which can only mean one thing. The most electrifying man on TV is back to lay the smackdown across Kane's social media. Please welcome to your screens the host with the most, Mr. Niles Nassim.
Well, it's the fourth quarter, the bottom of the ninth, and the last set of this glorious week, so you better not tweak because, oh my, I'm feeling sweet as pie. Because it's time for the most electrifying segment on TV with me, Niles Nassim, your host with the most. So when you see me on screen, it's time to go behind the post. We'll call the replacements because Miami has found their new head coach for their women's basketball team. That's right, Trisha Kolop, welcome to the U. Kolop is coming from Toledo, where she was a 5-time MAC Conference regular season champion, 2-time tournament champion, and a Carol Ekman Award winner. During her time at Toledo, she boasted a 68% win percentage. Well, that's pretty dope. And she will be looking to bring her winning ways by making big-time plays here at the U. Coach, we can't wait to see what you do. Now, row, 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 you know the song. Look, if you don't like my singing skills, I think you will like the championship hardware that our rowing team brought back home from the Sunshine State Invite. That's right, I knew you like that. They will be paddling their way to victory tomorrow at the Miami International Invite, so show your support. And congratulations to the team for their hard work and dedication. You have always been seen and valued. Now, yesterday was a massive day for two people in athletics who have poured their heart into the university and have received the highest honor for the University of Miami. Let's check it out with this video.
Congratulations.
Congratulations are in order for Mike Redding and JD Arteaga on being tapped for Iron Arrow. Iron Arrow is the highest reward that you can get at the University of Miami, focusing on leadership, scholarship, humility, character, and a love for this prestigious university. If you haven't seen these men on campus, you will know that they are true examples of this. Well done, gentlemen. We salute you. But that's all the time I got for you today. So you know what to do. Be blessed, never stress, because you know where to find your boy right here on SportsDesk. I'll see you next Friday.
Thanks, Niles. Up next on Sports Desk, Annie Watson joins us live from the Neil Schiff Tennis Center for a recap of today's tennis match. But first, we've got some trivia for you. Hurricanes head men's basketball coach Jim Larinaga has the most wins in program history. But how many career wins does he have? Is it A, 708, B, 724, C, 740, or D, 765. Find out the answer when SportsDesk returns.
Man, what a day it's been. We got here at 4 in the morning. I think we should lighten up the mood with a little song.
For the longest time?
Oh,
for the longest time. I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Thanks for staying with us. If you guessed C, you're correct. With 40 seasons as a head coach, Larrañaga has a career record of 740 and 500, ranking 7th among active coaches in the NCAA. With track and field continuing and the rowing season in full swing, there's plenty of news to go around on campus. Let's hear from our O Sports Roundup duo for more. Guys?
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the O Sports Roundup. I'm Ashley Friedlands.
And I'm Giovanni Alonso. Now, Ashley, we've got so much to talk about. A lot of stuff has happened in the past week. What's going on with track and field?
Well, Gio, Milton Ingram was just set a new school record for the discus at the Pepsi Florida Relay. And Christina Warren just set her personal best in the 100 meter, finishing with over just 13 seconds in the race. And the team is headed back to Cobb Stadium. They began today, and they're continuing on till tomorrow, Saturday, April 6th, for the Miami Hurricane Alumni Invitational. And there's been a lot of moves making in tennis. What's happening over there?
Well, Ashley, you're absolutely right. It's been a huge week. A lot of news for men's and women's tennis. But let's start with the good news. Women's tennis took down Boston College in their matchup in the Miami Open, one of the world's premier tennis tournaments. And the general consensus was that it was a positive experience for everybody involved. Women's tennis went on to dominate Syracuse 6-1 in their next matchup and is now ranked as the 19th best team in the nation, according to the newest ITA rankings. Now, a little bit of a more somber and uncertain type of news for men's tennis. Head coach Alosha Pirich announces that he will be stepping down to accept a role as Director of High Performance and Recruiting at Tennis Innovators Academy in White Plains, New York. It's going to be very interesting to see how men's tennis respond to this, how they finish out this season, and how they will choose to replace Pirich come next year. Well, Ashley, we've got one more thing to talk about before we wrap it up. What's going on with rowing?
Miami's first varsity 8 boat was just named ACC Crew of the Week, making this their third time ever receiving this title, but the first time since 2017. The team will split this weekend for Sacramento, California, and in Virginia Key, Florida, for 2 separate invitationals. Well, that's all the time we have for you today. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, guys. Earlier today, the Canes men's tennis team hosted the 20th ranked NC State Wolfpack, looking for their first victory since March 17th. Our lead reporter, Annie Watson, is live at the Neil Schiff Tennis Center. Annie, what happened in this match?
Thanks, Michael. The men's and women's tennis squads just ended their matches against NC State this afternoon, both of them resulting in a loss. On the men's, their match started at 3 p.m. this afternoon, and they lost 3-1 with their only win coming in the doubles matchup. The men are now 2-8 in conference play and 8-5 at home, and they face Wake Forest on Sunday. On the women's side, the squad led by Alexa Noel also lost 4-3, and Alexa Noel lost to 5th-ranked player Amelia Rajecki earlier this afternoon. They also face the Demon Deacons on Sunday. Reporting live from Schiff Tennis Center, I'm Annie Watson. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Annie. Spring is in the air and volleyball is back. Tatenda Mukareshi just sat down with Alanis Vera following their first exhibition game on this week's edition of Athlete of the Week. Tatenda?
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Athlete of the Week. I'm your host, Tatenda Mukherjee, and today I am joined by Alanis Vieira from the women's volleyball team. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's so good to have you. I would love to know, where did you grow up and what was it like growing up there?
I grew up in Orlando, Florida, but I was born in Puerto Rico and moved to Orlando when I was 4.
Whoa, what was it like growing up in Puerto Rico?
For what I can remember, a lot of beaches, super hot, community is very friendly and engaged.
So why volleyball?
So volleyball has been a big thing in my family. Both my parents are actually club directors in Orlando. They played professionally. My sister also played professionally and in college, and my brother also played, so it's been a family thing.
Wow, so now you're a Miami Hurricane. What's that like?
It's amazing. I've always wanted to be a Hurricane, but the best thing about being a Hurricane is how well known we are. We'll be in like airports and we'll get recognized like from the U and be like, hey, it's all about the U. We're just having a back and forth conversation about being a Hurricane, and I just love that the community just grows like around the United States.
What motivates you?
My family. They're the best support system, and every day I just want to get better for them.
I love that. What advice would you have for young athletes who aspire to be just like you one day?
I would say to always work hard, dream big, and not really worry about what anyone else has to say. Kind of just look straight and just keep going and working hard towards your goal every day.
Wow, so now you're entering into your senior year. What are your goals?
My goal as a team, I think always is to win the ACC championship. But the biggest goal we have is to get past that second round of the NCAA tournament. We always seem to fall short in that round, so I really want to, be determined this year and kind of make it to the third round.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That's all the time that we have for today. Remember to be good, and if you can be good, be safe. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Tatenda. Now, the soccer season may not officially start until August, but the team is already improving and ready to compete with a new leader at the helm. I sat down with their head coach, Ken Masur.
10 more seconds, 9, 8.
On December 5th, 2023, the University of Miami announced the hiring of new soccer head coach, Ken Masur. And since his arrival in Coral Gables, he's wasted very little time, making a very large impact.
Being around the team has been exceptional. The young women in this team that have chosen Miami for Miami have welcomed me and my staff pretty well. They were excited for a change of pace, and when we brought that to them, the exciting part for them was the chance to compete every single day.
Coach Masur is no stranger to success, winning 2 SEC championships and reaching 5 NCAA tournaments in 9 years as an assistant at Vanderbilt. He looks forward to bringing that same success to the Hurricanes.
Bringing that mentality here was inherent into what we find is, what makes a successful program. The willingness to compete, the intensity to work hard every single day at training, and then, obviously when things aren't going your way, how quickly you are to respond to that.
That same goal is shared by the new group of talented players he prepares to lead in 2024.
Yeah, I think this program is going to be super successful. I think we have the talent, we have the players, and we have the coaching now. And so I think ultimately what it's going to be is just growing and learning, both on and off the field.
And while Coach Masur knows that he won't win championships immediately, he is, however, guaranteeing the program's success.
Doesn't mean that we're not going to train like champions, and ultimately down the road, that stuff's going to hopefully happen. The buy-in from the players immediately has been, as best as I could ask for. That part that they continually bring every single day allows us to put in more and bring more to the table.
Michael Muela, UMTV.
Thanks, Mike. Still ahead on SportsDesk, getting a hole-in-one is rare, but how about getting 2? Stay with us after the break to see how it happened.
Hey, boss. Okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
You sure?
I said I'm fine.
Since I was little, it was only like me and my parents.
You think you created family out of characters?
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna take that and make it into a song.
For me to Hey, Pop.
Talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
University of Miami athletes are known for their talent in the game, but Wrigley Court had the chance to see some talents that you won't typically see on the field.
This isn't your typical recital, and these aren't your typical artists. It's the University of Miami's annual Student Athlete Talent Show, an opportunity for student athletes to show that they're more than their on-field product.
We really try to focus on making sure that our athletes aren't just athletes. We knew that they all have something outside of their sport, and so we just wanted to pull that out and be able to showcase their other talents.
LaToya Ferris is an assistant athletics director at UM, and she's dedicated to making sure the students under her wing live balanced lives on and off the field.
Being a student athlete is super challenging, and mental health is such a big issue right now. Being able to have something that they can really focus on, like again, have that creative outlet in whatever way that is. We just wanted it to be something fun for our student athletes. I think anytime we can get them together outside of their sport is really important.
The talent show's a chance for some of those athletes to get together and show off a few of their lesser-known skills.
I'm always competing for track, so it's cool to also have basketball because sometimes I'll go and play basketball just for fun, and it's kind of like mind-freeing a little bit. I think a lot of athletes don't get to showcase themselves in other ways besides their sport, so I think it's great that we had this opportunity.
But for some, their talents are more than just a hobby.
If I didn't have that creative outlet, it'd be so much harder. I'm somebody who needs to have these things going on at the same time. Art is just as much of who I am as my sport is. And so if I'm not really doing one of them to the fullest extent, everything else kind of comes crashing down.
In a room full of some of the most competitive people on campus, this is one thing that isn't all about winning.
Like a lot of my teammates came in and they've seen me play basketball a little bit, so it was just fun to have them see another side of me here.
For us to be able to see them in that space and then to see how much they enjoyed it, I had a blast. You know, I mean, again, I see these students a lot, but I don't see certain sides of them, so being able to see this other side of them was really fun.
For UMTV, I'm Wrigley Court.
Thanks, Wrigley. With the Masters quickly approaching next week, the world's best golfers are striving to make the right strokes to clinch the green jacket. And that's exactly what happened last week at the Valero Texas Open. Here we go. Let's head out to Texas. Here's Jordan Spieth on the par 3, 199 yards, 16th. Big swing with the 7-iron. It's flying high through the air. It's going to land softly. It's going to roll out to the hole. It's got a chance. Will it drop? Yes, it will. An ace for Jordan Spieth. Drops into 2 over par. Now let's go to the Valspar Championship. Peter Malnati with a 5-iron. 141 miles an hour off the face of the club. This one's going to land sharply. It's going to roll out to the hole. No, we're not going to see 2 in a week, are we? Yes, are we? Oh my goodness, we are going to see it. Swirls around, finds the bottom of the cup. He would go on to win the event, and that is your play of the day.
With a Final Four berth on the line, Caitlin Clark had one thing on her mind: revenge. Iowa outlasted LSU in a rematch of last year's championship game in the most watched women's college basketball game of all time. According to ESPN, the game was watched by over 12 million people and broke the previous record of 9.9 million, which occurred in last year's national championship game between Iowa and LSU. Reports also stated that it was the most watched game in ESPN history. The game was tightly contested in the first half until the Hawkeyes pulled away in the second. Angel Reese led the Tigers with a 17-point-20 rebound double-double, while Clark scored 41 points for the Hawkeyes. Iowa will meet UConn in the Final Four tonight at 9:30 p.m. I mean, Michael, this is incredible to see. I mean, especially for women, this is an incredible thing. It's the most watched game in ESPN history. How amazing is that?
Yeah, it's super amazing. You know, as a fan of college basketball, both men and women, this has just been one of the best tournaments to watch. We've seen the best players, the best teams. We've seen some pretty unbelievable upsets, and I can't wait to see what happens tonight. I'm pulling for Caitlin Clark because she's pretty much done everything as an Iowa Hawkeye except win that national championship.
You and me both, Mike, but unfortunately that's all the time we have for this week's edition of Sports Desk. Thank you for joining us.
But never fear, because we'll be here next week. Same time, same place. But until then, have a good night and a great weekend.